I hope you're having a fantastic day. What a great day to be alive. What a beautiful day to be able to get together as a group of individuals and have this live stream. I want to thank you for joining me from wherever you are. One thing I like to do is we're waiting for people to join. If you don't mind, just pop your pop your location where you're watching this from in the comment section. And if you're watching this by replay, thanks for watching this by replay as well. And you can put your location where you're watching this from in the comment section as well. So thank you for joining me today. I have a couple of great things to go over. I'm going to talk about how hard work and determination pays off. And I'm going to share with you, I got this coaching question submitted about how to handle the relationship when you move from coworker to boss. It can be very difficult, very tricky and sticky. So thanks for joining today. And if you feel like this is something that people on your friends list could benefit from, please like and share this live stream, share this video if you're watching by replay, so that the word can get out and more people can benefit from what I'm going to discuss today. So while we are waiting here, I want to tell you about my book giveaway. I am giving away a free copy of my best-selling book, The Secret to Winning Big, that I co-authored with Brian Tracy. And all you have to do to be registered to enter this drawing is tag a friend in the comment section. Somebody that you think that might benefit from watching this video, watching this live stream. And I will announce the winner next week. All you have to do is just tag a friend in the comment section. All right, so while we're waiting here, I think it's time to go. I'm going to get my phone ready because this is where I will answer any comments. So if you have a question, like if we're discussing what we're discussing today, if you have a question about what I'm discussing, or you have something totally separate that you would like to be coached on, that you're stuck having an issue that you're stuck with, be sure to post that in the comment section. I'm going to loop back and look at the comment section and check all the comments before we get off of here. But this is live and interactive, so feel free to comment, ask any questions, comment about anything that we discussed today. So let me welcome you. This is my Level 10 live stream question and answer session. My name is Nate Miller. I'm a professional speaker and performance coach. And I came into the leadership business by being a hospital CEO. I was the CEO of several successful hospitals. I was the youngest CEO in a Fortune 500 company's history, becoming a hospital CEO in my 20s. Several of my hospitals received national recognition for our performance and levels of success that we achieved. From there, I created a healthcare consulting firm, was the president of that firm, and had the opportunity to work with organizations across the country, and then I expanded out into other industries besides healthcare. And one thing that I really noticed was that organizations that struggled all lacked inspirational leaders. So that has been my focus, is helping people become inspirational leaders. And listen, you do not have to have a title to be an inspirational leader. Some of the best leaders I've seen in these organizations I've worked with were not the people in the leadership position or had the leadership title, but they still inspired and helped their team achieve success. So listen, you do not have to be a particular level in your organization to benefit from this. Plus, what I talk about a lot is just performance, because as a leader, you got to perform, you got to be at your best, you have to be very productive, very efficient. So we talk about that, or I talk about that a lot on these as well. All right, so that is just a little bit about me, and you can see because of my focus on inspirational leadership, I've been focused on Fox News, CNN, CNBC, ABC, and NBC. So today I'm going to share with you a story about how hard work and determination pay off. I'm going to make sure that we don't have any questions or comments yet. All right. So my daughter rides horses. She started riding horses about 3 years ago, and it was something that she wanted to do for a long time, but we just didn't. Our older boys were playing soccer across the country, baseball across the country, band. We had all kinds of things going on, so we just really didn't have time when she was younger to get her a horse or to get her horse riding lessons. So once our boys graduated, we thought, okay, it's time. She's something that she's continued to express an interest in, so we started getting her horse riding lessons. And from that, she continued to ask for her own horse, but we weren't sure that she was going to be able to, it's something that she wanted to do long term. Excuse me, a little frog in my throat. Or something that, was going to be a passing fad and in a few months go away. So we had the opportunity to lease a horse, which I'd never heard of that, but basically somebody owns a horse, you can pay to feed it, take care of the vet bills, pay for the rent for the stall, wherever they're located, and it's basically your horse to ride. And so we did that because we wanted to make sure that she was something that she was going to be interested in long term. We didn't want to buy a horse that in 4 months she didn't want to ride anymore. And so we did that, and we also wanted to make sure that she was going to do all the things that you have to do to have a horse, which is, clean out their stalls, all the dirty stuff that you have to do. We wanted to make sure that she was going to be consistent and really wanted to do it. So we leased a horse, and she loved it. She took care of that horse. She did everything she was supposed to. She never complained about taking care of it. So we bought her a horse. It was, what will be considered like a starter horse. And she wanted to compete in barrels and poles. And so we got her this horse, and she got really good at riding this horse, very competitive. She placed in the top 5 in our association and several events on this horse. And the way it works is there's 12 associations in Arkansas, and if you are in the top 5 in an event, you get to go compete at the state finals, which is held on Labor Day every weekend. We just got home from it, and that's why I have a 3-day beard growth here. But you get to go compete in the finals. And so last year, Sadie this was only her second season to ride. She did so well, she was in the top 5 in barrels and poles. And she was riding the same horse for both events. But we realized when we got to the state level and competed that our horse it's a big horse, and poles, you have to weave in and out of the poles. And he was just really too big for that, and she had to slow him down to get him between the poles, and that also impacted how he ran his barrel pattern. It was hard for him to go out full speed in barrels and then be held back for poles to get through the poles. But she came in 5th place in poles. But when we got to the state competition, we realized that he could get her in the top 10, because the top 10 at the state place received trophies, received recognition. We realized he could probably do that in barrels, but in poles, it just wasn't going to happen. So we had the opportunity after this last season to lease a pole horse. And so we thought, let's give it a try. Let's see how it goes. And this was a horse that could place her in the top 5 at state, or top 10 at state for sure. So we leased this horse, but this horse had a totally different style of riding. And I'm not a huge horse person, but all horses are different. And there's 2 major ways that you control and steer a horse. One is with the reins, the bit in their mouth. They really are sensitive to that, and that's how you control them. But then the second way that horses can be controlled is through their legs. And this horse was trained to move through the legs. So it was a totally opposite style of horse than that she had been riding, and been riding for 2 years at this point. So we got this horse, and she started working with him and learning how to ride him. And it came time for our first association show, and we had 10 shows, and you get points based on where you place. The top 5 get points. You get 5 points for first place, 4 points for second place, all the way down to 1 point for 5th place. And so at the end of the season, the people that have the most points, the top 5 points, place in our association, and then get to go on and compete at the state level. So that was our goal. We wanted to get to the state level. So the first show, we get out there, the horse's name is Rio. They go through the pattern, they knock over the poles. And we knew it was going to take a little bit of time for her to learn this new style. So we weren't too worried about it. Second show, same thing. Gets out there, they knock over poles, they're not together. And we thought, okay, it's only the second show. She still has plenty of time. So the third show comes around, and she gets them through the poles, and she places. So we thought, okay, she's got this figured out. And before this, she was pretty frustrated. She's got this figured out. They finally got them together. She's gotten together. She's going to figure out how to do this. So here comes the fourth show, knocking over poles. Fifth show, knocking over poles. And by this point, we're very frustrated. She is very frustrated. She's having a hard time figuring out the horse, how to do it, because again, all of her muscle memory had been with the horse that you steer through the mouth. And so it's totally different for her. And her horse that she learned poles on was a big horse that you had to give plenty of room, wide, big, swaths when you turn. The new horse, like, it weaves so tight around the poles, and that's how it ran. And if you didn't go tight around the poles, it would knock over the poles, and that's what was happening. So the sixth show, after the sixth show, and she knocks over all the poles, we realize, well, she's not even going to have a chance to compete at the state show. We're very frustrated at this point, thought that we'd made a mistake. But my daughter didn't give up, and she did not, blame the horse. She didn't blame anything. She accepted full responsibility. So we're very proud of her about that. So the seventh show comes, and she places very high, I think second place, maybe that show. The eighth show comes, and she places very high. So after she'd finally gotten with a horse, like this hard work had paid off, she finally figured out how to do it. She didn't give up. She didn't blame anyone. So the last show of the season comes, and she has just a slim chance of making the top 5 and making it to the state final. But she had to win that show. And so we were, really anxious about it. And she goes out and she wins that show. And every time they're getting faster and faster, cleaner and cleaner. So right after our last association show, she was in 5th place. So she got to go barely, but she got to go to the state finals, which was held this past weekend. And so before that, there was a practice show. Another association was coming close to us because their venue had been rained out. They had an outdoor venue, so they were coming. They were about 45, 50 minutes from us, so they were coming to our location because we have an inside arena to have their show. So we thought, well, it's just one more way to go practice, another location to go practice. So Sadie goes, her and Rio do poles, and they win poles, like getting faster every time. So this past weekend was the state show. And, we get down there, we feel like that the time that she ran at the last show would have put her in about 10th position. Traditionally, she would have been in about 9th or 10th place, but she had to have that fast, clean run to place. So we get down to the state show. The finals for poles were yesterday. And she goes out and she has her fastest, cleanest, incredible run of the season. And she came in 4th place in the state. So she was top 5 in the state, number 4. And you received a huge trophy. I'm going to show you a picture, just what I'm going to show you now, as a matter of fact. So there she is. That's Rio. That's her big trophy. That's her big smile. We were so proud of her for accomplishing this because it took a lot of hard work. We're talking practice 2 and 3 days a week, and then the show on the weekends for weeks and weeks and weeks just to get to this point. But she never gave up, and man, it paid huge dividends. So how this applies to you, this is just an example of something that you're working on, something that you're focused on. And if you're like me, if you don't see results, don't see success right off the bat or pretty quickly, it becomes very tedious and frustrating, and a lot of times we'll quit. So whatever it is that you're working on, whether it's a project, whether it's a personal skill or, personal way for you to do some task or, some goal that you've set for yourself to achieve, keep after it, stick after it, put the work in, put the time in. Even if you don't see the results that you want right off the bat, do not give up. Keep going, keep focusing on it, because in the end it will pay huge dividends and it will pay huge results. Sometimes when we're going through this, we've got a goal or something that we're focused on and we don't see real results fairly quickly. We just feel like, well, it's not meant to be, or I don't have the talent to do it, or it's just going to be too hard for me to accomplish this, and we give up way too soon. There's a story, it's called 3 Feet from Gold, but it's a story about a man, I believe he was from Philadelphia, and he sold his goal was to be a gold miner. And so he sold everything that he had in Philadelphia, and he went and purchased a claim and used mining equipment in Colorado. And he worked that claim, worked that claim, never found anything. So he got frustrated and gave up and sold his claim and his equipment to someone else and moved back to Philadelphia. The person that bought the claim dug 3 more feet and hit the largest gold mine, or the largest gold streak in the history of the U.S. at this point. 3 feet away. So he stopped 3 feet short of a huge, amazing goal, being rich beyond his wildest beliefs because he didn't dig 3 more feet. So think about that the next time that you're focused on something that you want to achieve and it gets hard, you don't see the results you want to see right off the bat. Just remember, keep going. Persistence, determination pays off. So there's that. That's the little story I want to tell you about persistence and dedication. Let me check, make sure there's no comments here before we move on. I did receive a coaching question that was emailed to me. And basically the individual said that they had recently been promoted, they worked in the team, and they'd recently been promoted to the boss of that, or supervisor of that team. And the relationship had gotten really weird and really different between her and her coworkers. And so she was asking what she could do to get her relationship back to the way it was when she was a coworker. She wanted to have that same friendship and same kind of relationship that she had prior to becoming a supervisor. So what you have to understand is that once that you become the supervisor, things change. There's just no two ways about it. I remember when I was a young physical therapist and I worked in a clinic and I was, co-worker, co-peers with these individuals I was working with. We had a great relationship. And then I got promoted to the supervisor of that clinic. My relationship changed. And I remember thinking, okay, just because I'm their supervisor doesn't mean that we can't be friends, doesn't mean that anything's going to change. I'm not going to change everything. We're going to have a great relationship just like we had before. But boy, was I sadly mistaken. And that was a valuable learning lesson about how the relationship does change when you become a supervisor. It doesn't mean that you can't become friends or can't remain friends, but the friendship is going to change. Because here you go from working side by side with somebody. You become the supervisor in your mind. Well, there's no need for the relationship to change, but think about this. Who decides the person's raise now? You do. Who decides when they get to take off? You do. Now, most of the time you think, almost all time off gets approved, so that's really no big deal. But even if that is the case, you still have the authority to not allow someone to take off. So the relationship dramatically changes when you become a boss. And you also have to be very cognizant of, when you work with a group of peers, some of those individuals you're going to like more than others. And when you become a supervisor, you have to be very objective. You have to be very unpartisan with how you deal with individuals. You're the supervisor. You don't make decisions based on how much you like someone. Now, of course, if it's a situation where someone's performance and efficiency is better than others, then of course you will make decisions based off that, but you cannot make a decision based off personal opinion or personal preference. So that is going to change as well. So the ultimate answer is there is no way to go back to the relationship that you had prior to becoming the supervisor, because you are now the heavy in the room. You now have authority over those individuals, and whether you like it or not, that's the reality. And that's one of the things that you have to, things change, like it's a give and take. You gain the ability to be the supervisor, you gain the ability to be in the leadership position, but you have to give up some of the things that you're used to. You're no longer just a coworker. And what you say carries more importance. If you're, just an average worker in a position, and you can make some complaints about the organization. You can say some things about the organization that do not carry weight at that point. But when you become a leader or in a supervisory capacity, the things you say are going to carry much more weight and have much more impact. So you also have to be careful. If you're watching it again, let me remind you, if you haven't already, please just put in the comment section where you're watching this from. I always like to see where people are all across the country, even across the world, that are tuning in to these live streams. So please take the time to do that. If you have any questions, like you're watching this on the replay and something comes up, put the question in the comment section, because I will loop back around and look at the comment sections, even several days, a week from now. And if you have a question about something I've discussed today, feel free to put that in the comment section, and I will be sure to answer it either in the comment or the next video. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in, and take your skills to the next level. Take them to level 10. All right, have a great day. Bye.